Welcome to Momentum Monday. Today is August 18, 2025. Howard, how bullish are you on the scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, I'm bullish on stock twists, bullish on degenerate economy, bullish on speculation, bullish on you know the crypto and the markets. I think we've had a great run, so I don't know where we're at. We're looking out 2 weeks. What do you see? I mean, we still got a nice little great trend
Yeah,
from
I mean,
April.
I mean the large cap indices are basically consolidating near their all-time highs, and bull markets do what bull markets do, which is correct through sector rotation. So definitely last week we saw rotation into small caps, like IWM, I think was up 3% last week. And the whole move happened after that CPI report came a little bit below estimates. And it was that reaction was the market way of of speculating, or maybe now the Fed will finally admit that inflation is not going to is not going to perk up after all the tariff rhetoric, at least not anytime soon. And maybe they'll start a process of cutting. So this is why we saw like a little pullback in rates and then the big reaction in small caps. And the whole premise is that many of those, small cap companies, if they have to refinance, if they can refinance at lower rates, that could have a much bigger impact on their bottom line than, for bigger companies if they're, more leveraged than the bigger companies. But either way, we saw rotation into small caps. Uh,
Small caps are led by what? Like the banks and not biotech? Like how could it be misleading? That's really because
I mean,
I'm
it's a
skeptical, right? Like
combination of sector. We have financials, biotech, we have some energy, so it's some industrials. It's a combination of sectors. But we're talking about market cap,
yeah.
and typically, when they lead, the market is, in a more speculative mode. Um,
I'll buy
and
that. I'll buy that. My problem here is never thought it. I don't think it's ever been again, this is why I don't price matters more than fundamentals. I don't think it's a worst time ever in the history of financial markets for small caps. But but that's obviously being potentially proven wrong. So I don't have a strong opinion, meaning that who does tariffs affect? Like retailers, food, packaging, affordability by like the masses to get their medicine and everything else. So I'm like a little bit skeptical. But in an interest rate sensitive world, if people want to bet that rates are on their way down, I'll buy that. And so I'm hoping for a breakout. I wouldn't be surprised to see it fail
yeah, I
miserably.
mean, it failed so many times. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been
But I'm hoping for a breakout
underperforming.
because that would be a good sign.
They've been underperforming for 15 years, really,
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
basically the Great Recession.
Yeah.
And just because they'll be like the same 10, 15 companies that, uh, went up 10 to 100 times, maybe 300 times, some of them, and um, became such a big part of the S&P and the Nasdaq 100. But this is what we saw. This is what we're seeing lately, some rotation. So the money is not really leaving the market, it's rotating, which is
Yeah.
bullish, especially considering the bearish seasonality of August and September. We're more than halfway through August, and stocks have been holding remarkably well, just a relentless bull market. And yes, we're seeing some pullbacks in some of the momentum names, to their 20 and 50-day moving average, but this is normal. Like you should never, try to chase them when they're super extended from, their 20, 50, at least from their 20 moving averages. Better to wait for a pullback to get a tighter stop entry. And even if you're wrong, that's fine. You have a small loss, but if you're right, your potential win is, multiple times your risk. So we're seeing some pullbacks. That's why I'm saying bull markets, markets of stocks, they correct through sector rotations, and we're seeing exactly those things. Some of the leaders are pulling back, but we don't really see that in the indices because of rotation. They just continue to hold well. Um,
Yeah. I mean, Roblox had a hell of a run. I kind of got it. It was in my DGen index for that whole run. I just feel like all right, maybe I shouldn't have profit took, but I feel like it's hard to stop this type of platform. It just, might have gotten ahead of itself on valuation, still not making money, but man, what a loyal audience, compared to a Snapchat, they have a business for that audience. But I think the most interesting charts to me continue to be like the Ubers, some of these like autonomous plays that are starting to catch, a true tailwind. Like if we look at the monthly, um,
Which one, Uber?
yeah, Uber. I love the way that looks. I love the way Grab
Why are you
looks.
bullish on Uber right now? Aren't you worried a little bit about the robotaxis
No,
impact?
I mean, this is a whole different game that Elon's playing with, and I just think everybody. It's another instance, I think, where Google's just not a good storyteller right now in an era of storytelling. So that's on Google. Like if we pull up Google's chart, that's totally on Google, right? Like
Yeah.
the traders are dominating the discussion, and yet the stock is starting to move, right? Like I have not heard a positive story on Google in since woke began. And I think they've been correcting all their mistakes as fundamentally as best they can. And here's the stock, like hated, not talked about. And it's ready to go. And I'm using Gemini all the time. I use YouTube all the time. I use Gmail all the time. I use Maps all the time. I use Calendar all the time. I don't use Android, but so I'm like, okay, tell me what the problem is. And tell me that ads are going away. So again, I think storytelling matters. Okay, let's look at OpenTable. They'll never make a fucking dollar. Let's look at what the people like. Let's talk
Which
about
one
what
is open table?
Open Door, Open
Oh,
Door.
open door. Okay.
Okay, this is what the crowd likes. Scam, no CEO, no business model, no proof that go look at the monthly. This is what people want. This is trading like it's fucking discovered, rare earth materials. So 2.5 billion never proved anything in its whole life. But that's what the people want, a story. Right. And I am in the phase of the market, whereas you can have your stories. I'm going to go back at the valuation and go, what stories are misunderstood? Who's not telling you a story, but just execute? Apple's doing a terrible job telling its story. There's probably more truth to that because I don't know if Tim Cook ever was a storyteller, he's an operator, but could that stock be more hated? And yet it hangs in. Um, so whereas Facebook, he got good at storytelling and he's getting the premium for that, right? Who's not good at telling a story? Snapchat. See what's happened to the fucking Snap? Same fucking amount of users as Meta as Roblox has. So I don't think fundamentals is something we talk about all the time. Fundamentals matter. We've never been at a point where fundamentals matter more or less at the exact same time than right now. And Open Door and Google are like today's perfect example, or any shitcoin, right? So who tells the story best wins, but I think who wins in the long term generally is fundamentals. And so I think there's certain companies out there that could play serious catch up, and I think Uber is one of those stories, right? It never has been good at telling its story, and it continues to dominate and figure out business models. And at that valuation, Google could buy them. Like they're like again, you're also saying like, all right, it's an expensive company, but 100 billion, it's so undervalued,
It's
right? So
200
it's
billion, yeah.
right, but if it dropped 30%, it's so undervalued as a brand and as like distribution. So again, like you've got to in this market truly try and understand what you own a little bit better, or completely play the meme game, which is fine, storytelling and quick trigger fingers. So the market has something for everybody right
Yeah.
now. I think you need to develop a strategy and try and kind of understand this. What looks interesting? So Uber looks interesting to me. Grab, Uber owns 10% of Grab. That looks interesting to me. So you can own it by just owning Uber. What else? Affirm looks interesting to me. I added to my portfolio because this is like a buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later universe led by the founder. With a real look at it, it went from -$3.23 to positive cash flow this year. And like, look at the growth that like once they figure it out, this thing is just, getting back to IPO prices.
I mean, a
Right.
lot
So
of those companies IPO'd at crazy valuation in
what I'm saying, it
2020.
spent 5 years
Yeah.
I'm not saying it grew into its valuation. It's always these great companies are going to be overvalued forever. Okay, we've learned that. So the question is, it's all relative. How many, what are the best companies that the most money can own? And this thing has the potential to be one of the great fintech companies because it's a very simple business. And their competitors are lost in the dark. PayPal's just a conglomerate that can't get it right. Square, whatever their ticker is today. Um, PayPal's screwing it up. It's a conglomerate. XYZ is Square, which are they a Bitcoin company? Are they a Cash App? Are they a retailer? A firm does one thing well, and now the economy is lining it up with the type of economy that we're heading into, and this stock could explode on good numbers. And again, it's risky, but there's certain things that are setting up. Google and a firm look really interesting to me. Apple, I was very close to selling it, looks interesting to me, but like there's no story there. But the AI story is still theirs to be involved in. What else? I'm just looking through my hit list here. What are you looking at? I mean, then let's look at the bad side. Lulu, Nike, Cava,
Yeah,
Chipotle,
yeah. As a lot
like
of them have been
middle
hit pretty
America
hard. Yeah,
is getting
yeah,
trounced by tariffs, by and then the other thing that I bought on Friday, just as a momentum trade, was First Solar. So the solar stocks
yeah,
are just on the worst news possible. The fundamentals of this could not make more sense in a world of tech and AI, in a world of costs, in the fact that so I mean you could let's zoom out again. I'm not recommending the stock. I shared it on StockTwits at 190. I was buying in, so we're still in no man's land. But I mean, you are talking about a base of all bases, and just huge accumulation in the last what 3 months. And
yeah.
I
I mean,
would
there's been a lot
that's
of
still
buying.
a
Yeah,
small cap. Is that still a small cap?
no,
23 million, probably
it's a
not.
mid cap. I mean, it's 24 billion. Yeah,
Okay. So I think that one seems interesting. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I think China looks interesting to me, like degeneracy, K-Web, which is
yeah. It's
like a
setting up.
K-Web. I mean, that's setting up, man.
Yeah.
I think Tencent is like the Facebook Plus. Like, how do you not? I've owned it before.
Do you own any Chinese
I own
names?
I own K-Web just personally, just because I don't follow the companies on it. But look at the monthly on Tencent. I mean, how is this any better or worse than Facebook? I would say a better product.
Yeah,
Uh, so I'm saying 89 relative strength.
and
This
it's
stock's been
improving.
basing for
Yeah, yeah,
7 years. Let's go to the numbers. It's been basing for 7 years. Okay, it's going to earn $4 a share next year. I mean, like, this is like, okay, so you want to buy Open Door? Versus this, you want to be a professional and look at real companies like with real opportunity. Tencent is something I'll probably add to my degenerate index. Um, so there's some great looking, huge companies that are going to benefit from AI lowering their headcount. I mean, look at Shopify as one that I've owned forever. It's not a degen index. It's just a great software company that got their religion around costs as a SaaS business. Go look at the monthly. They're not going to quit. This thing is back on plane. Yeah, it's not going to be a smooth ride, but this is going to be a much higher, this is going to be a much bigger company in the next 20 years with Toby leading it. So again, they've been through the valley of death. They survived it. I think you buy the dips. So there's still some great action under the surface in new potential big companies.
yeah, definitely. They're
They're
new.
not cheap though. These things are still 50 to like it's hard to truly, with a straight face, as professional, tell people to pound the table on this. But for those that are nervous, indexing still works, man. QQQ, SMH, SPY. I mean,
Yeah, just depends on your goal, but yeah, for many people that could be enough.
where are you swinging? Like, so what are you doing? You're on the road. Are you doing anything or no?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm trading. Last week I bought some small caps just to participate in that run. Um, Today I bought some calls in this company, Tuximity, as its earnings breakout and went sideways. It's setting up for potential continuation. So I bought next month calls and
Can I get the weekly on that,
to
Ivan?
give
What?
myself more time to
So it's DOCS. I'm adding that to my watch
to,
list.
par- to participate in a potential move. Um, I think Tesla is setting up for a swing, even though historically September, October has been the weakest months for Tesla, but it seems like seasonality is not really working so far these two couple months. So I think it's setting up for a pop, especially because Tesla is also involved in solar and solar stock. They are a solar company as well. And solar companies have been on fire. So I think Tesla is a little bit of a underdog that might, play a catch up for a swing. Obviously, they have, other issues. Um, what else? I do own some Uber shares and call options. Took some profit on the calls today, but I still own some. Um, what else do I own? I was also looking at Carvana. I had some bits, but it just moved too fast. I couldn't enter. Because
Yeah.
it had a big earnings breakout, it pulled back, tightened up near its 50-day, and I was ready, to buy that bounce. But
There were a lot of those. Duolingo did that. Spotify did that. They just were kind of
yeah,
like,
exactly. Spotify, great setup last week. Exactly the same kind of setting up here.
there's something for
Uh,
everybody. I'm just trying to find great companies right now because there's going to be a storm. There's just too much froth and there's too much leaning. I think
if there is a
money's,
storm, everybody's going to be impacted. And yes, the strong company are probably going to pull back
yeah, yeah,
only
yeah, yeah,
only
yeah, yeah.
20%, but the crappy
Yeah.
ones can pull back 50 to 90%. So obviously, you need to use a stop loss no matter what
Yeah.
the
It's
stock
all good
is.
points. I'm just saying I'm pretty high. I'm at 20-ish% cash. If you follow my degenerate index, I'd love to put money to work. I did it in a firm. I added some more Google today, but like I'm doing it knowing that like I'm at like peak equity exposure personally for this type of my heebie-jeebies of like the froth. I also think there's so much money that just got made in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's going to trickle into like shit coins. So it's going to be a fun end of the year for bad behavior. If you're into like trading shit, you're gonna have plenty to trade. If you're into storage, it's going to be plenty of stories. The open tables of the world is going to be hundreds of these. So I think it's never been a better time, going back to like the beginning of the show, it's never been a better time to like find guys like you or me and learn how to do this because this is not going away. The bear market's always around the corner somewhere, but like we're in the middle of a massive bear market. If you're Deckers or Lulu or a food company or
Yeah.
relying on tariffs, I mean, this is one of the best companies in the world. Go look at the monthly trend. There's been no bounce. This company could do no wrong.
Yeah, and it's down 50%, just like Lulu.
So,
Yeah.
so I own a little bit because just to keep an eye on it, not enough that if it dropped 30%, it would hurt me. I'd try to stop out. But like, if you can't realize how much of a bear market it is for Deckers right now, like if Trump resigned tomorrow, the stock will go up 50%. Not because Trump's a good guy, bad guy, like we all have an opinion, because the policy could not be worse for Deckers. The tariff policy could not be worse for Lulu, could not be worse for Deckers. And you can blame competition, you can blame whatever the fuck you want. But on top of that is just a complicated world for these type of companies to operate. If you're food, if you're processing, if you're just, reliant on middle America and on growth through, there's just so much uncertainty. And rates are still high. They're not coming down. So I just think you just got to know all that. You don't need to be a macro person to like make those decisions, but you do need to understand where we are in the macro. Price should still dominate your decisions as you and I do. Like, don't you think price should still dominate how
Yeah,
you think?
absolutely. Especially if you're a trader. I mean, obviously, if you're an investor, uh,
Yeah. You do
the,
not want to follow news. You'll just spend half your time being too smart and out of the market. So but not understanding where we are, it would be silly because it's so easy to understand where we are. But I think you just go look at Lulu and Deckers, and if you want to see if tariffs are starting to, if somebody's going to flinch, you'll see those stocks move the most. The other thing is housing, right? Like I've told people I bought some Meritage homes. as a locust friend of mine, the founder of the company. I mean, these are so tied to interest rates. If you really are going to believe the interest rates, like these things could run 30%. Forgetting fundamentals, I'm just talking about a levered trade, getting in front of this interest rate move. If interest rates really do make a couple percent move down over the next year or two, these stocks are going to run.
All
All
right, Howard.
right, everybody. Ivan, safe travels.
See you next week. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.